I can't stop thinking about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. I mean, just look at this game. Look at this game. This is Smash Bros with Nickelodeon characters. The nostalgia is just hitting me so hard right now. I mean, I watched all these shows. SpongeBob, Nigel Thornberry, Ah Real Monsters. Oh my gosh. Great show. I mean, they're grabbing each other, they're throwing each other off stage. I just can't stop thinking about the possibilities in this game. Reptar, Helga from Hey Arnold. I mean, this is insane. I play Super Smash Bros. Mainly with just my brother online, and that's one of the only games I play. And now, I mean, I'm just gonna have to get this. And what I wanted to do, I thought it would be fun because I just can't stop thinking about this game, is I wanted to predict the rest of the roster. The developers said there are more characters on the way. I've been reading literally every article there is about this game, watching every video out there, reading every prediction. So I was like, all right, you know what? I got to jump in on this because this is just absolutely amazing. 14 confirmed characters so far from the trailer. And if you look at the leaked box art, because of course I've seen the leaked box art. What do you think? This is my first rodeo? I think there are a few others that we can pretty safely confirm are in the game. Cat Dog is on the bottom right. Ren and Stimpy are right in the middle under All-Star Brawl. You got Korra is underneath Reptar. That's Aang underneath Korra. That's his hands going like Avatar style. And there's a couple more on the right underneath what looks like Patrick. Those are too hard to make out. So I'm going to put up this graphic right here. And these are the characters that I think we can safely assume are confirmed for the game. We got SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, Ren and Stimpy, Powdered Toast Man. I mean, it's just amazing. Michelangelo, Leonardo. We got Lincoln Loud and Lucy Loud, and I'm not alone in this one. Never heard of them. Had to look it up. The Loud House. I guess it's a pretty popular show. They needed some modern show other than SpongeBob to entice the kids of today, but this is really hitting those 90s 2000s kids cartoons. That's what I grew up with. Oblina from Ah Real Monsters. Oh, one of my favorite shows. You got Avatar with Aang and Korra. Helga. Helga. Nigel Thornberry. It's like you could choose any character from the Nickelodeon saga, and you're choosing these characters that just are so random, yet it's absolutely amazing. Danny Phantom, I'd never watched the show, but I mean, it makes sense. He seems pretty cool with his powers. Cat Dog. What is Cat Dog going to do? Kind of a similar shape as Oblina, but we'll see what Cat Dog has to offer. Zim makes sense. And then Reptar. Oh my god. It's like, I can't stop thinking about it, guys. I can't. If they put Reptar on ice skates for Reptar on ice. I mean, just think of the possibilities. So many great episodes. So many great characters. So I'm going to start us off here with my realistic predictions of the characters that will end up in the game. So if I had to put money on who I think is going to be in the game, and by the way, if you couldn't tell already, I think there's going to be 30 characters playable when it's all said and done. And I'm basing that number off of the Nickelodeon racing game that they made. I never played that. It's kind of like a Mario Kart ripoff. They had 30 playable characters in that game. And if that game has 30, I think for the first game in this fighting franchise, I think they can do 30 It's not that big a stretch. It's no Smash Bros. Ultimate with like 85, but 30, that's a solid number. And there's a lot of good options that they can choose from. So if I had to put money today, who I think is going to make the game, here's where I'm at. And I'm going to go by franchise that are already in the game. We're going to start with SpongeBob. And I'm adding Squidward right at the top because, I mean, he's the next logical option. I don't think Plankton makes any sense. He's way too small. Unless he was using his robotic wife, Karen. I mean, just think about that, though. Like, you could literally add so many. SpongeBob Universe could have its own separate fighting game with Mr. Krabs, Larry the Lobster. I mean, he's jacked beyond belief. I mean, Bubble Bass. It's just, there's so many options, but I think Squidward's the most logical next in line option. He's probably my favorite character. I would be sad not to see Squidward in the game. And I think they're going to probably cap it at 4 SpongeBob characters, maybe 5. SpongeBob's kind of like the Mario of this game. SpongeBob's the face of Nickelodeon, so they want to have enough reps. You might see Mr. Krabs thrown in there. We'll see. But Squidward, I think we could safely say he's in. I don't think they're going to stop at just 2 Ninja Turtles. I mean, this is a fighting game. And for anyone who's saying that, oh, the Turtles are just going to be clones of each other, they all have different weapons. I mean, how do you just include Michelangelo and Leonardo and not include the other 2? So I'm putting Donatello in there, and I'm putting Raphael. I mean, if you just looking from these tiny little internet images I got. You got the nunchucks, you got some this, you got that weird sword sight thing. I know one of them has double blades. I mean, they're all unique enough to put in the game. And of Nickelodeon shows out there to choose from, this is like the one fighting show in Nickelodeon. How do you not take advantage of that? You have to put all the Ninja Turtles in. It wouldn't make any sense if you didn't. So I think, and I'd be okay if there were just 2. If it was just Michelangelo, Leonardo, that'd be fine. I didn't really grow up on Ninja Turtles, so I wouldn't take much offense to it. We got 2, but I think they're all going to be in there. I mean, it's a perfect fit for this game. And how do they choose between? They're all going to be in there. Trust me, they're all going to be in there. They were all in that racing game. I mean, why do you need Ninja Turtles for a racing game? They're all going to be in this fighting game. Don't you worry. Let's put in Shredder while we're at it. Again, I'm not a Ninja Turtles fan. I never really watched it, never got into it really. But just look at him. He's so cool. I mean, he's got the spiked armor and everything. He's a fighter. We need villains. I mean, if you look at this roster as is, there's no villains. I mean, Helga maybe? But Helga's like a lovable villain. Shredder's going to be in there. I mean, this is a fighting show. This is a fighting game. You got to put a villain in. Shredder is going to be in there. Now, the other fighting show that they better take full advantage of is Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra. And again, they could make an entire game of just Avatar universe characters. And they should, quite frankly. It's a shame that they haven't already. There's so many Avatar characters. They all have different abilities. Quite literally, you got Aang, who's doing the airbending. You got Korra, who's native to water bending. They're both avatars. They can do all of them, but they'll probably stick to Korra doing water bending. And they best be putting in my boy Zuko into this game, the firebender. This is my number 1 request. All right, I don't really care if they put anyone else in. They got to be putting in Prince Zuko. I mean, he's just so cool. Prince Zuko might be my favorite character in any TV show of all time. I mean, there is not better character development in any other character I've seen than Prince Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And Dante Bosco is like the perfect voice. They better be putting in voice acting for this game. I want to see Dante Bosco in this game going, I can't even do it, but you can only imagine the possibilities. You know, you put in Uncle Ira with the T. I mean, it's insane. It's insane to think about all the possibilities. That's why I can't stop thinking about it. That's why I'm doing this. And while we're at it, you know, you got every other element. Let's put in Toph Beifong for Earthbending. She's a female character. We need to see some female representation in this game. There, you know, we got Oblina, we got Cora, we got Sandy, Helga, you know, Lucy. But we want to see some more female characters. And Toph, I mean, it's the perfect addition to do it. You know, just imagine like the ground coming up out of the ground, you're throwing rocks and everything. I'm telling you guys, it's a perfect addition. They could fill a roster of 30 just for Avatar characters alone. I think they'll stick with 4. I mean, I hope they stick with 4. If they're only limiting it to us to 2, then that's a shame on them, because this is the perfect opportunity to showcase these characters. And again, it's cool to see other characters like Helga, Nigel, you know, Lucy, I guess. I never watched the show, but these are just random like human characters that don't really have any fighting abilities. Like, it's cool to have them in the game, and they're probably going to be the better characters who just like are so broken compared to everyone else. But I mean, this is a fighting game. Put in some fighting characters. It's what the fans deserve. You got to put in the football head. I mean, come on. Hey, Arnold, how are you going to put in Helga and not Arnold? I mean, it's funny, yeah, but I mean, Arnold's going to be it. I can only picture that episode of Hey Arnold where he plays that music and he goes, "I'm crazy, watch me," and then he's doing that crazy dance. Like, imagine him just doing like crazy dance moves to just like hit someone in the face and just it's just so funny. This game is hilarious, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be enjoyable to play. The developers are working hard on it. I don't think they'll put in anyone else from that franchise other than Arnold. Maybe they'll put in Arnold and someone else, maybe Gerald, maybe... That's probably it. I don't think... I think Gerald might be a stretch. He was in that racing game, but I think they're just going to stick with Arnold and Helga, and that's enough for this franchise. There's a lot of other franchises and characters we need to get to, so I'd be happy with that. So we're going to move down, and Rugrats do not have any of the Rugrats. They have Reptar. I mean, that's amazing. Like, who would ever thought Reptar in a game? He's like the Charizard added to Super Smash Bros. That's kind of my interpretation of his character. He's a big character. He's like a giant Godzilla-type character. He'll be fun to play as, but they got to put in one of the Rugrats. And the easy pick is to put Tommy Pickles in. I'd say he's probably most likely, if not Tommy. I am going with Angelica Pickles into the roster. I think it makes a little bit more sense. She's a little bit more mischievous. She loves cookies. Just imagine her like chucking cookies at her opponents. I mean, Tommy Pickles would be cool with the screwdriver. Like, I don't know what they would do with Chucky. He's just kind of afraid of everything. Phil and Lil could be cool, but they don't have distinct enough fighting characteristics. Whereas Angelica, she's the bully of the Rugrats. She's kind of like a mini Helga. I mean, you look at them, my God, like, does Angelica grow up to be Helga? I mean, like, look at it. It's not too crazy. Helga's in 4th grade. Angelica's what, 2, 3? I mean, it doesn't really make any sense to have any of the Rugrats in. They're babies fighting against, like, these grown mutant turtles and fire-bending elements. I mean, it's funny that, you know, these characters beat those other characters, but I think Angelica makes most sense for Rugrats. And if you actually look into that leaked box art, I think right above Dog from Cat Dog, I think that might be a silhouette of Angelica's hair. Take a look at it. That braid, that little braided ponytail, that kind of looks like it could be there, right underneath that foot. And I Googled for so long to see what character does not have tied laces. And the only character I could think of was Chucky. That's not Chucky's foot. No way. That's not Chucky's foot. It could be maybe one of the Avatar characters kicking or something, but I think that's Angelica's hair underneath there. It would make sense to put a recognizable Rugrat right on the front of the cover. You have Reptar, yeah, but you need one of the Rugrats to really bring home Nickelodeon. Rugrats is one of the OGs. There better be some representation there. All right, so let's. So I'm adding a character here that I think is pretty heavily requested by fans from what I've been reading. I actually did watch this show, and I'm talking about My Life as a Teenage Robot. Jenny XJ9, she's the robot teenager. And again, I watched this show. I like this show. I would put it on. I'd watch it. But I can't tell you a single episode that I remember from this show. It was just kind of like, yeah, I'll put it on. I don't really pay attention. It's not that enticing. It's no Hey Arnold. It's no Rugrats. I liked it better than Cat Dog or Wild Thornberries, but I can't really remember anything that memorable. She was a fighting teenage robot, and it makes sense to put her in this game. I think she can take off her detachable ponytail and throw them, and her legs are like detachable rocket type things. I think she'll definitely be in this game. It makes total sense. The show ran for several years, I think 6 years. So it's a good Nickelodeon representation. Less known show. I think there's enough of fan response behind it that would make it sense to adding her to it. So we're going to go up top, and I better see some Fairly Odd Parent representation. This was like my number 2 show behind SpongeBob back in the day. And let me clarify, SpongeBob season 1 through 3, anything before the first movie I'm talking about. Anything SpongeBob after that, just garbage. I'm not afraid to say it. Just stop already. I can't. I'll only watch seasons 1 through 3. But it's the face of the franchise. I totally understand it. It's like The Simpsons. You can't stop. It's just people are going to watch no matter how bad it is. Fairly Odd Parents was on for 15 years. And it got canceled every year, and it gets no love for whatever reason, but it's an amazing show. Same creator as Danny Phantom. So if they're going to put in Danny Phantom, they better be putting in some Fairly Odd Parents. Fairly Odd Parents got no love in that Nickelodeon racing game, which shocked me. But I think Cosmo and Wanda are the perfect fit for this game. If not, then it's going to be Timmy Turner, who somehow can use Cosmo and Wanda as his moves, he summons Cosmo to, he wishes something. Or maybe it's like Pokemon Trainer, where Timmy's in the background and Cosmo and Wanda switch off. How cool would that be? It's compared to Super Smash Bros. With Pyra and Mithra, they just swap out with a down B. Ooh, now we're cooking. You got Ren and Stimpy involved. You got Rugrats involved. You need one of the OG characters from Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko. Who better to represent Rocko than Rocko? I mean, you could put in Heifer. Yeah, sure. But you're going to put in Rocko. It's kind of like Helga and Arnold from Hey Arnold. We want to see Rocko. I mean, he's the face of the show. And it's one of Nickelodeon's oldest cartoons. It's like a cult classic cartoon. It's got some adult humor to it, which we appreciate the older we get. I think he'll definitely be in this game. It would be. I don't know what moves he would do. Again, I don't know what most moves any of these characters are going to do. I certainly don't know what Nigel Thornberry or Helga are going to do. But it would just be cool to play as Rocko's Modern Life. And last but not least, Jimmy Neutron was one of my favorite shows. I think Jimmy Neutron, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Rugrats were my top 4 go-tos. There's not a single bad episode of Jimmy Neutron. I'll repeat that again. There's not a single bad episode of Jimmy Neutron. It got to a point with Rugrats where it was all right, this is a little kiddish humor. I already talked about SpongeBob. Fairly Odd Parents lost me once they had a kid. I didn't get into that. But Jimmy Neutron wrapped up so perfectly. There's not a single bad episode. Think about all the gadgets that he could use. He's got Goddard. I mean, he called on Goddard. There's so many. there's so many things that Jimmy could do. Boy genius. I mean, he's got to be in this game. So that's if I had to pick, that's what I think is gonna happen. 30 characters, all sorts of genres involved. I think it's pretty well balanced. You got a lot of female characters. You got a decent amount of villains. You got faces of the franchise. You got some side characters that you wouldn't normally expect. I hope the developers kind of trick us a little bit and just put in some random ones. Let me know what you think, guys. Who do you think is going to make it into the game? There's so many different predictions out there. This is just my take. So thanks for stopping by. I'll see you later.